right, everyone, episode 34. And even though this is our 34th episode, it's the first episode we're doing where I'm drinking tequila. So I can already feel it. So hopefully we can get through this whole thing, in one piece. My chest is already flushed, which I don't know why that's happening.
Tequila's a big move. Why the difference?
Well, so the only two things I ever drink are whiskey and tequila. I don't know if you know that about me. Like, I don't drink wine. I don't drink beer. I definitely don't drink vodka because that makes me turn into the exorcist. Like, people think I'm exaggerating until they've seen me drink vodka. But when I drink vodka, I'm basically puking everywhere and really angry and mean to everybody. So I'm quite literally like Linda Blair from The Exorcist when I drink vodka.
I think I've only seen you drink whiskey. I think you've always been a whiskey gal.
Yeah. Well, I drank tequila for a really long time. I stopped drinking it because tequila, I don't know if people know this, is the only alcohol that's not a depressant. So it's really good, but if you drink too much of it, you'll be up all night because you can't knock out when you drink too much tequila. Unless you're like super, super fucked up. But for me, it would always kind of make me stay awake. So I gave it up and I switched to whiskey. But lately whiskey has no effect on me anymore. I'm like an old Irish, drunk. So I had to switch to tequila for the time being. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm already feeling it and my contacts are screwy. So it's going to be an interesting episode to say the least. We'll see how it goes. Also,
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I'm excited to see how it goes. But also, I'm wearing this top that make my boobs look gargantuan.
Whoa.
I mean, normally they look like that, but like this is like extra specially so. So I don't really know why.
And you have your hair done differently, right? That's what you told me?
Well, it's not really that different. I finally got it cut, so now I don't look like a wet dog all the time. Like it has like more shape and my hair is like, before it was like depressed a little bit like me, and now it looks like it has, it's like having a Rumspringa. Like it's a little bit happier now. So
have you ever thought about going short, like Halle Berry short?
No, because I feel like you have to have like a really nice angular face for that. And my face, like my body is like very easily affected by things. Like if I eat, 2 pieces of bread, I put on like 10 pounds of water weight. So my face would literally look like, who I'd look like, with a short haircut? The person I'd look like with a really short haircut is the dude at the beginning of Full Metal Jacket. That's what I would look like if I buzz cut my hair. You'd mistake me for him. What's his name? Is that Vincent D'Onofrio? That like
that's the actor that's him? I had no idea.
I thought it was. I could be wrong, but you know who I'm talking about, right? Like the opening scene.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm not positive that's him. Well, I'll double check after the episode, but I don't think that's him.
Well, whoever it is, that's what I would look like with a buzz cut. Like you have to be like super good looking, like Halle Berry or like what's her name, Charlize Theron, to pull off.
Yeah, you can pull it off. I love your hair, so don't change it, but you could pull it off. You'd be fine.
Oh, thank you. You're so encouraging. By the way, I know I've mentioned this to you before, but so my parents have a bidet, and which is like some truly fancy white people shit. And so they have a bidet, and I was scared of it for a long time. But then the other day, I finally decided to try it out. And I have to say, I kind of like it. So
yes, I mean, women love bidets. It's very helpful. Why were you scared?
Because I'm not really into butt stuff. And I just was like weirded out by the thought of anything going up there. It's like... Because it's not even just like, oh, water. It's like a little hose comes out and it like positions itself and it squirts water up there. So I was like, oh my God, how close is it getting? Like, what's it going to do? But it's actually pretty cool. It's pretty high tech. Like you can change direction, water temperature, like the water pressure. It's like, top of the line that they got going on there, Scott and Dana. So
yeah.
I finally tried it, and not only did I like it, but now I'm like, oh, maybe I actually do want to experiment down there because it felt kind of good. So
I always wanted to try one. They have the ones that are separate, but then they also have the insertable ones. But I'm always worried about shitting on it.
No, because it goes back in the hole when you're done. It like retracts its arm and it like hides up in your toilet when you're done using it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's like, and it even has like a little air dryer. So like once it like
Really?
cleans you, it dries you up and you're just like, fresh like Daisy for the rest of the day.
You know, the Japanese have been on this technology for years.
Yeah, they're right. And everybody would talk about like the Japanese toilets and now I get it. No, it really is. I can't believe everybody like now I want to get one in LA. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like so fresh and so clean. Who it wasn't that like Outcast who sang that song?
Yeah.
I feel like there's like a marketing opportunity there for them.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I kind of liked it. And then I was just obviously because of I'm like a perverted person, then I was just thinking about like, you know, like anal play, butt stuff. The thing is, we have to come up with a better name for it because both of those things don't sound appetizing to me. Like, right?
Anal play and butt stuff? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like I don't like I just feel like there's like like part of like half of the reason why I'm not into it is because I don't even want to say those words. Like there has to be a better way. Sorry, my work notifications are going off. What a good time. Um
Well,
yeah, there
anal
has
play
to
and
be a
butt
better
stuff
way.
aren't safe for work words. You can't just use them in everyday life. There should be a nicer way to say I agree.
Yeah, like nowadays everybody's like, "Oh, eating ass." Like and I'm just like I honestly think that like rim job, which like was like what a 90s term, rim job was like nicer than eating ass, right?
I
Like
agree. Totally agree.
because I feel like I don't know, like everybody likes rims. Like, oh, look at the rims on that car. Like that's a safe term to use. But like eating ass, like of course, like the fucking youngins would think that was like appropriate. Ew.
Yeah, I could say rim job around my mom. She wouldn't know what it meant. But if I said eating ass, she would be suspicious.
Right. Like you can't even be coy with it.
No.
So yeah, like, but yeah, I hate to say it, and again, my parents are gonna hate this, but using the bidet has now opened me up to experimenting sexually. And so we'll see how that goes. Although I would also like to point out that today is the 3-year anniversary of no sex for me. Martin Luther King
Wow.
Day. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm pretty sure that it's closed up down there. Um I don't know, we'll confirm eventually. But and someone asked me the other day, they're like, "Is that real? Like is that real your dry spell?" And I'm like, maybe they thought I was doing it for effect for the podcast. And
Hmm.
I'm like, "Hell yeah, it's real." Who would lie about that? I sound like a fucking loser. I'm like Steve Carell from the 40-Year-Old Virgin. Like
I have some nerdy friends, and they've had sex in the last 3 years. So, yeah.
I
I
know.
mean, the good thing is you can. Like, it's available to you. You know you can. It's a choice.
It's no, it's definitely a choice, which is why like my my friends always be like, "Don't complain because like and I'm like, "No, that's true." But then what happens is then like once you go so long without it, then like doing it again, you're like, "Okay, well, I've already made it this far, so if like the person's not worth it, I'm not going to go for it." That's me
Yeah.
as a woman. I don't think men feel that way about sex at all.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And, women, they have great toys. Men's toys are not as nice as women's toys.
no, it's really just you and your hand, or if you have like, some disposable income, you can get like a fleshlight, but then like people think of you
Flashlight,
weird.
yeah. Uh huh.
I don't think it's
Penis
weird.
pump. I've seen guys get penis pumps.
Oh, yeah, see? Like it's so true, like being a dude. But I don't know. I actually like I think I posted about it this week, but I was like I posted a meme about how like, women after they masturbate or after sex, they're like happy and normal, and guys after they come are like upset or like they get weirded out sometimes. And I didn't understand why. So I posed the question to the group, and collectively the answers were LOL, I don't know, which is like typical man. And then some guys provided like a better answer. They said, "Oh, it's hormonal." Did you know that?
I'm sure it is. I'm sure there's some sort of truth to that. I think it's more of a society thing. I think society tells men if you're not having sex and you're jerking off instead, that you're not doing things right. You're less of a man. I think that's where it stems from.
Well, that would make sense, but like this was saying that even after having sex, that some guys have like weird guilt or they almost like and then so I asked my friend about it and
Really?
he said, "Yeah, biologically men after they ejaculate are like prone or they want to distance themselves from the act.
Interesting.
Isn't
I
that
can't speak
weird?
to that. I've seen cases where that's the truth in movies, but yet I can't speak to that. I feel like $1,000,000.
Yeah, I think so too. Like if I had sons, I would be like, "Listen, you should feel great afterwards. Like it's God's will for you to, be boning things. Like don't feel bad about it. You should feel happy." I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't get like sex guilt. That's weird to me. I feel like that's only like, like what's the word I'm looking for? Oh God, the tequila's kicking in. Here we go. I feel like that's the kind of thing that like only like stuffy like Americans would get weird about because when you're in Europe, like they like sex is everything's very open, like they're not, they don't censor a lot
Yeah.
of things. So, but in
Well, it
America,
also
we're
could
like
be
afraid.
a religious thing, some sort of ingrained imprint in our head that, hey, church tells me not to, have premarital sex. Maybe I shouldn't.
Oh yeah, the fucking church. They always got to, the church is a goddamn fun sponge, if you ask me. They're always telling you what you can and can't do. That's
Yeah,
like now,
they have all this wine, yet you can't put it to good use.
right. Or like now we're going off on a tangent, but that's also like, like Lent. Don't get me started on Lent. Like,
Mm.
oh, you can't eat meat on Fridays for like 4 weeks because that's what Jesus wants. I'm like, I doubt Jesus cares about when, if and when you're eating meat. I think he cares if you're a good person 365 days of the year, you know?
Yeah,
But I don't
I
think
don't
he
think Jesus
cares.
cares if you gave up soda for a month. That's
No. Um, but I don't know. Hold on, just doing a quick nipple check. Okay, they're in.
that's fine.
Yep, they're intact, ready for takeoff. Uh, so also tomorrow, oh no, not tomorrow. What's today? Monday. Well, whatever. 2 days is the big inauguration day. Um,
Yeah, look at that.
yeah. So normally it's like a, whatever. Like this year, of course, it's going to be like some DEFCON 5 situation where, the president may or may not make it. Like it's very scary. There's like 80,000, National Guard troops at the Capitol. Things are going well. I was going to watch Joe Biden's inauguration because that's who I voted for. But then I saw that J-Lo was performing and I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to watch Donald Trump's departure ceremony or whatever.
J-Lo kind of sucks. I agree with you. I'm saying this as a Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
She kind of sucks these days. I agree with you.
And they're having like Lady Gaga do a prayer. And I'm like, if anything, we should have swapped. It should have been Lady Gaga performing and, J-Lo could have done like the hymnal or whatever.
I would like that. Yes, I agree.
So then it got me thinking like, okay, well, what would I want for my inauguration? Like, and like for me, I would want I would want Motley Crue playing and I would want it to be held at Hooters because that's my personality, you know? But that's just me. So what would you like?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, you mentioned Outcast earlier. I think Outcast is a fun, you know, that's a fun time. It's a party.
Yeah, no. Outcast, I would get down with Outcast. Like that's cool to me.
Little
Who
bombs over
else?
Baghdad. I love that.
Yeah, but just not like I don't know. I just feel like they always like play it safe. And I feel like, at first I was like, oh, strippers, but you couldn't do that at the inauguration. And then I thought
Mhm.
Hooters because I've seen people bring their kids to Hooters. So I think that's like, like PG
Which I
13
find very
fun.
uncomfortable. Like at one time, I was walking through Hollywood with my mom, and the options are limited. There's not a lot of restaurants in on Hollywood Boulevard for some reason. You'd think there'd be a bunch. There's a few right in front of the Chinese theater.
Right.
There's a Hooters there, and my mom's like, "You want to go to Hooters?" And I was like, "No, that's just weird. I'm not going to go to Hooters with you." It's a strange thing. Hooters, even by myself or with my friends, is a strange place. I don't get Hooters.
It's so weird that you brought that up though, because I mean, I feel the same way in terms of like, I wouldn't want to bring my parents to Hooters with me. But
Hmm.
one of my guy friends recently told me that he went to like a legit sex club with his brother and his father and
Wow.
watched like I'm not going to get into like too much detail even on this podcast, but he
Hmm.
witnessed the sex act and with his dad on his one side and his brother flanking him on the other. And
It's that is strange, but I went to a bachelor party one time with my brother, and there were prostitutes. So it's a thing. It's a weird thing.
I was gonna say, like, I think it's a little bit strange, but I know plenty of dudes who are like, oh yeah, like I'd go to a strip club with my dad. So it's
Hmm.
strange for me, but I don't necessarily think it's strange in general. People are doing it. Um, but yeah, I was like, that's very interesting.
But yeah,
Um,
for my party, if I got elected, I'd like the Black Eyed Peas would be a good option. Something everyone loves, yet you get excited for.
right. Yeah, J Lo just like wasn't the move this year. Like I don't even know why they picked her. There's going to be
It
no people there. It's going to be just like UFC. There's no fans, so it's going to be
yeah.
really weird. There's no people.
Well, I tell you
And
what, J Lo is safe because she is a Latina, so that is right in between black and white. You
well,
know.
you know what? You bring up an interesting point. I also wonder if J Lo was a strategic choice because even racist white man, or even racist white men like a fat ass.
Hmm.
So I wonder if they sort of put J Lo in there as a buffer, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're
Yeah,
like a
and she's hot these days. She's over the tabloids. She was on the Super Bowl halftime show last year. She's hot right now.
right, yeah, and I just feel like if you're, like even if you wanted to storm the Capitol and like rid America of minorities, like you might want to do that, but you're not going to do that when J Lo's performing. So maybe
No,
it was
they want to save
strategic.
J Lo's ass. Yeah.
Right. So maybe that's why they did it. In which case, I understand. Speaking of what's hot right now, now this is like my Christmas. I know it doesn't mean anything to you, but this coming Saturday we have the McGregor versus Poirier fight. I'm
No,
very
that's
excited.
exciting. Fun.
Yeah. So I'm rooting for Poirier, and he's the underdog. But so it's already been a tough week for me because I'm out there campaigning for him. I'm like at home trying to manifest a win, trying to call on my like spirit guides to get him a win. But
Well,
I don't
do you
know.
know people that are rooting for Conor McGregor? I feel like he's the easy person to root against because he's an asshole, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I see a lot of people rooting against him because Dustin's the underdog. He's a nice guy. People really like him. But you can't forget that even though McGregor is an asshole, like, a lot of people see him as an asshole, he still has a very strong fan base. I mean, that's what they call them, McGregor fanboys.
Yeah,
So
I think it's very similar to Yankee fans. If you're rooting for the Yankees, fuck you. That's
you're
what I'm
like over
saying.
it. Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, like the man looks very buff. He looks really good. So
McGregor, but isn't he getting old? Is he past his prime yet? When is that going to happen?
he like retires every 2 years. So that's like people sort of like that's what they get mad at him about, amongst
Hmm.
other things. I mean, he's definitely getting up there, but I don't know. I don't know if there's like a huge age difference between him and Dustin. I don't think there is, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, it'll definitely be like, an interesting fight. Dustin, for me, is the easier person to root for because, again, he's the underdog. He's sweet. He has a really good reputation. I'm the kind of person that always wants to see that guy win. So
Yeah.
it's not so much that I hate McGregor as much as I just really want to see Dustin win. But yeah, so I guess we'll see what happens. It's over in Abu Dhabi, so thank God they're still putting it on at a normal time though. Unlike
Yeah.
last time when it was at 7 in the morning. I'm like, honestly, Dana, that and he's fucking charging $112 for the fights now, which is even more annoying.
That's insane.
Right.
Especially in these times, these hurting times.
That's my point. It's like, okay, like any other time you want to hike the prices, fine, but does he not realize that we're in like a huge recession right now, Dana? I mean, that and
But
he's
you go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that, and he's threatening to go after everybody who is like illegally streaming the fights, which is everyone.
Hmm.
So I don't know how he plans on doing that, but I'm kind of afraid. I talk all this shit, but really I'm a Girl Scout. Like I'll be paying for the fight legally.
As you should, because you're going to be reviewing it on this channel, right? So people at home tune back in. Bree will review the fight, and as you should, be watching the HD version.
Yes, absolutely. I will be reviewing the fight, which obviously attracts fight fans more than anybody. But even if you're not into the fights, you still could tune in because most of it's just jokes. And maybe you'll watch it and be like, maybe this interests me. Maybe I do want to watch sweaty, hot, muscular, tattooed dudes roll around together.
Yeah.
I know I do. But yeah, so this episode, I mean, all in all, I would say this episode was really Rimjobs and democracy. That was the crux of this episode.
I think we have a title.
I think we have a, yes, I smell a title. Is there anything else you want to add before we finish up?
No, just like always, if you can, please subscribe, like, comment. If you can, follow us on Instagram. We appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. I don't plug the whole like and subscribe. Maybe I'll do that this week. But yes, like and subscribe. It helps us a lot. The last two videos have done phenomenal, so we really appreciate it. But obviously, liking and subscribing helps us even more. We recently got our first, or one of our first pieces of fan mail that I have to respond to later. I promise I will. But also send us, fan mail or hate mail. We like either.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that pretty much sums it up for this episode. But until next time, guys, Al and I and the twins send you much love, and we'll see you back here next week.